Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Women's Tennis Through the Decades. This is Todd Newcomb coming at you from Bucknell. Tonight we have the 1990s, a great decade of women's tennis here at Bucknell, and a great group of alums joining head coach Tammy Cicchini and one of our current student athletes, Rachel Carroll. Rachel is a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're pleased to have her join us tonight on our show. I want to thank Geisinger as our sponsor for tonight's event. Geisinger has done a great job throughout the pandemic taking care of our local communities, and they do a fabulous job day in and day out with our student athletes here at Bucknell. So thank you to Geisinger. As I mentioned, this is the decade of the 1990s. I'm going to introduce our guest, and then I'll turn it over to head coach Tammy Cicchini, and she will run with the questions. Our first guest from the class of 1992 is Marianne Bennick, and I am going to use maiden names so that people who are watching that are Bucknellians will recognize folks by that name. So again, Marianne Bennick, class of 92. She was the team captain during the 91-92 season. She won 35 singles matches, which ranks 32nd on the all-time list at Bucknell. And Marianne won the Bison Club Award at the Athletic Department's Senior Awards Dinner her senior year. Our next guest from the class of 1995 is Julia Diaz. She was the team captain during both the 93-94 and 94-95 seasons. She won 34 singles matches, which ranks 33rd on the all-time list. Her singles winning percentage of 75.6% ranks 7th all-time, where she went 34-11. She partnered with Kim Carlson at first double to capture the 1991 Patriot League title. An all-Patriot League selection with partner Christina Luter in 1994. She was a member of the Patriot League All-Decade team, and Julia won the Christy Mathewson Award at the Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest, also from the class of 1995, is the aforementioned Christina Luter. She was the team captain during the 94-95 season. She ranks 18th all-time at Bucknell with 91 combined career wins. She's 15th with 50 singles wins and 22nd with 41 doubles victories. In terms of winning percentage, she is the school's all-time best, having won 85.8% of her combined matches. She went 91-15 in her career. She also holds the top winning percentage in doubles play at 85.4% and ranks second in singles at 86.2%. Christina was an All-Patriot League second team selection in 1993 and an All-Patriot League double selection with partner Julia Diaz in 1994. She was chosen as a Patriot League Scholar Athlete in women's tennis in both 1993 and 1994. And more impressively, she was a two-time National Academic All-American, including a first-team honor in 1995. She won the Bison Club Award at the Athletic Department's Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 1996 is Sarah Allen. She was the team captain during the 95-96 season. She ranks 27th all-time at Bucknell with 71 combined career wins, including ranking 23rd with 45 singles wins. She won 78.9% of all her singles matches, going 45-12 to rank 5th all-time on that list. She won the Patriot League individual title at 5th singles in 1992, and she was an All-Patriot League second team selection in 1993 and a first team choice in 1994. She was also All-League in doubles with partner Lauren Weil in 1995. And our final guest, rounding out the decade of the 90s from the class of 2000, Kerry Callahan. She was the team captain during the 1999-2000 season. She won 50 combined matches during her career, including 24 in singles and 26 in doubles. She was an All-Patriot League selection in 1997, and she was an All-Patriot League doubles selection with partner Kristen Ingalls in 2000. Kerry was honored as an ITA Scholar Athlete in the year 2000. So, Coach, we've got another great group. Let's have some fun. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Wow, that's really, really impressive, both on the court and in the classroom. Hello, it's really nice to meet everyone. Thank you for spending some time with Rachel and I tonight. So before we begin asking you some questions about your Bucknell memories, Sarah, I'm going to start with you first. Can you please tell us a little bit about you right now? Where do you call home? An update on your family. Please tell us about your career. And lastly, please let us know about any pets you may have.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I'm Sarah Allen Davenport. I live right outside of Houston, Texas right now. The mother of 4 children, 4 boys, ranging from ages 19 to 8. So we just wrapped up college applications and we're working on our spelling list all the way down. So a wide range of ages. What I love is all 4 of them actually play tennis.
Oh, wow.
2 of them play varsity tennis, or 2 played varsity tennis for high school, and one of them is a middle school tennis player, and one likes to beat up on the 6-year-olds on the street playing street tennis, and that would be my 8-year-old. So that's as far as family wise. And my husband and I have been married for over 20 years now, and I'm fortunate enough that he was able to follow my career in television. So I was a television anchor working in stations from Tennessee to New York. And my last stop was in Houston with the NBC station here doing the morning show. And I absolutely loved my career in TV. And I loved how Bucknell set me up for that, even though there are no journalism majors there. I specifically chose Bucknell knowing I wanted to go into TV and steered clear of anything journalism. And in doing so, I actually got my first on-air job about 3 weeks after graduation. So I've loved my career in TV, and thankfully walked away from that morning show desk because that 2 a.m. wake-up call is not a lot of fun after a long time and with children. And I now stay home with my 4 boys. I run a health and wellness company online, and I'm also an investigative journalist. And yesterday wrapped up a shoot for a show called Vengeance. I do snapped killer couples and fatal attraction and horrible murder shows that you don't want to watch, but it's all true crime. And that's kind of my fun little hobby on the side. And we have a lot of pets right now. We had 9 puppies born, 9 lab puppies. And we have the mom lab, and I have a Doug, who's a cat named Doug, who is very judgy about the whole thing right now.
Wow, that's really
Very
impressive. I am addicted to the ID channel. So
Well, you can
yes.
watch me there. I'm on ID and Oxygen Network and True TV and a couple of other crazy ones.
Oh my goodness. Can I ask which shows on ID?
So you'll see some of the old Snapped shows there and Snapped Killer Couples. You'll see Fatal Attraction. You'll see a new show called, oh gosh, I just shot for it. It's on HLN though. And then Vengeance is what I'm shooting right now.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm the investigative journalist. I interview all of the murderers behind bars. I'll interview parents, and then they'll interview me to be on camera. So
wow, that's impressive. So I have an 18-year-old who's going through the college process too. So how is it going for you? How did that go?
He finished last year, and I was telling Todd, Bucknell was in the running. He was accepted, but there was no water ski and wakeboard team. So he is actually at Clemson studying biomedical engineering, and he's on the water ski team there.
Oh, they have a water ski team. Great.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Well, thank you. Julia, how about you?
Yep. Hi, so I'm Julia. I graduated in 1995. I am currently in Baltimore, Maryland. But I've been here since 2008. After school, I kind of toyed around with New England and so forth. I have 2 kids, 2 girls, 2 tomboys like their mom. They're 16 and 15. The little one's a mini me, and the older one's kind of a mix. Their first sport was tennis, but they have a huge passion for lacrosse and soccer. So that's kind of what they do. They travel all over the place, and typical, mom, cleaning uniforms and cleats and so forth. I've been in medical device sales for about 20 some years, specifically in anesthesia and in orthopedics. So I've been doing that basically in the OR, selling equipment and so forth. And when it comes to dogs, I have a 4-year-old Saint Bernard. Yes, a Saint Bernard. She's a girl. Her name is Luna Bella, and she's awesome. And before that, I had a yellow lab named Ripken. Yes, after the baseball player. And he was 15, and I lost him about 4 years ago.
Wow.
And that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
All right. So what was the decision process of getting a Saint Bernard?
So, that's a funny story. I lost Ripken after 15 years, and it was really hard on me, actually, because even though I grew up with dogs, and I used to go to this puppy place just to play with puppies. That's all I ever did. I just wanted to get my puppy fix. And I really wanted to go through the grieving process of losing Ripken, right? Okay. And one day, she just came to me, and I loved her. And I literally never researched her, never looked up shedding or drooling. She doesn't drool. She doesn't jump on people. She's an amazing dog. And I just fell in love with her. And then I researched her. And then I was stuck with her, so it didn't matter.
So how much does she weigh?
She's only 104.
Only, okay.
And that's it.
What's her name?
Her name is Luna Bella.
Luna Bella. Very
Yep.
nice. Mary Ann, how about you? Tell us oh, you're on mute.
Oops. All
Tell us
right.
about Seattle.
Yeah. I moved out to Seattle in 2000. So I've been out here going on 21 years now,
Okay.
enjoying all the lovely, amazing rain. But it is better than, I guess, a lot of snow and the humidity in New York, where I grew up, in Pennsylvania, where I went to school. I'm single, so nothing exciting on that front. I've had pets, mostly all cats, throughout my life, and my last one just passed last year, Desi, and so I'm still in sort of the grieving mode from that. One of my pets was a Bengal, and his name was Holder, and I actually was fostering, I guess, semi-permanently Holder, and I didn't realize why my friends, they were like moving to Hawaii, and they were like, oh, we need someone to take our cat because they don't allow these cats in Hawaii, and I didn't think twice about that. And I was like, sure, he's so cute. And then I thought, why didn't I research why they don't take these cats in Hawaii? Like a whole state doesn't allow this cat. And he was crazy. He's so beautiful. He's the most beautiful cat ever. But man, he would like climb up my entire house. He would like, he is crazy. So I've had some really fun cats, but really crazy cats too.
Are Bengals like big cats? Are they bigger than normal cats?
He was like about 17 pounds. So he's no Saint Bernard, that's for sure. But he could probably take the Saint Bernard. I don't know, even money on that one. So anyway, my career-wise, I worked in the tennis industry after I got out of Bucknell, and so I went to work for a magazine called Tennis Week. And I started out doing this free internship for a week that ended up being 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, traveling around the country, going to tournaments, marketing the magazine, at the US Open and the Thriftway Open back in the day in Cincinnati and Indianapolis and all those different tournaments. And then after that sort of 5 or 6 week internship of traveling like literally every day across the country to market it, they offered me a job. And so I was like, yeah. So I was going to go do advertising in a sort of a big advertising firm, but I was like, nope, this is what I want to do. So I spent 4.5 years. And I got to do really cool stuff like go over to Moscow to help run the first professional tennis events in Russia, the Kremlin Cup. And so, yeah, it was a really amazing experience. During that experience, it was really low tech, and I learned about technology, and which I knew nothing about at the time. I had taken one computer course, and I just fell in love with technology and decided that one day I'd want to go work in the tech space. And a couple of years later, I ended up getting a job out in the East Coast working for Microsoft. And then I spent 22 years working for Microsoft, and I moved out to Seattle. And this past June, my mom had passed, and we had gone through a long year with Alzheimer's and whatnot, and it just made me rethink my priorities. And a couple of years ago, I fell in love with a sport called pickleball. And it's like tennis, but mini tennis. And so like if you're older, you don't have to run as much. And so I just fell in love, and it helped change my life, get me back in shape. And I decided I wanted to have a career in pickleball. And so I was really fortunate. I spent the last couple of years sort of volunteering, helping my friend with her pickleball business. I just bought the business. And so I run smashpickleball.com. I give lessons every day of the week. I run tournaments, leagues, I sell gear. And I play lots of tournaments. So I'm living the pickleball dream these days.
Is that the logo on your jacket?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but
Right.
yeah, so smashpickleball.com, definitely. I'm having a blast, so I'm really enjoying it.
I know of so many people who have picked up pickleball and absolutely love it. I've not done it yet, but
I played
Yeah.
it over break. It's so fun. I played with my family over break. My dad can't play tennis, but he loves pickleball.
Yeah. Anyone who plays tennis is going to be great at pickleball, and it's super fun.
Now, Rach, next to the courts, aren't those pickleball courts? What
There
are
might
those?
be another name for them.
No.
I don't think they're called pickleball, but you can probably
that's
play
right.
on.
Pickleball is played on tennis courts, right?
The pickleball is the size of a badminton court. It's 1/4 the size of a
Hmm.
tennis court.
Okay.
And so it's a heck of a lot smaller.
Okay.
Well, the net too is lower. Mhm.
Yeah, the
Okay.
courts behind me, actually, Tammy, are platform tennis courts,
Platform tennis.
which
Yes,
is
yes,
another game altogether.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's
Oh,
super fun too.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, cool. Well, that's very interesting. Cool. Carrie, how about you?
Hi, I'm Carrie Callahan. I live in Denver, Colorado with my two boys. They're 8 and 10. And our dog, Lily, she's 14.
Oh,
And actually, just speaking of pickleball, we also play pickleball. And we just put a sport court in our backyard. So we play pickleball in our backyard all the time.
wow.
I'll have to check out your company, Marianne. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm so jealous you have a court. That's
I
amazing.
know, it's amazing. We're really, especially when the pandemic hit, we had somewhere to go. Let's see. So after graduating Bucknell, went to get my MBA from University of Michigan. And I was working as a consultant and mostly in the cable and tech industries or broadband industries. But I stopped working when my little guy turned 1 so I could be more involved with their activities in their schools.
Okay,
So,
cool. Are you originally from Colorado? How
I
did you
am
get
not.
there?
I grew up mostly in Southern California,
Oh,
and we made our way around. I lived in several places, and we've been here about 12, 13 years now, though.
okay.
Yeah.
So from going from Bucknell, which is about 3,600 students, to Michigan, which is thousands of students.
Yeah.
How was that adjustment?
I thought it was fantastic. I loved Bucknell for undergrad. I was
Mhm.
able to be on campus and focus on school. But when I went to grad school, it was fun to have a lot more going on and be in a town like Ann Arbor
Mhm.
and go to a big football stadium and
Yeah.
get that experience as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law, he used to work at Michigan, and there was a restaurant called Zingerman's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
sandwiches. So
They're great sandwiches. They would
yes,
have lines down the street.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. Good. Thank you. Christina, you're
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
So I currently live just outside of Chicago in a town called Illinois.
where do you live?
Winnetka is
Yep.
the town, so it's just north.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have any New Trier students who've been on the team, but that's the big high school where
Yep.
my kids will go.
Okay.
So I'm married. My husband grew up in this area, although I'm from another suburb of Chicago. So
Okay.
after Bucknell, I came back to Chicago, worked in public accounting. And then I worked in finance. Then I went back and got my MBA from Kellogg and worked at Pepsi on like Gatorade and Tropicana brands for a while, but in a finance role. And then similarly, I stopped working when my oldest was about 1 and haven't been back. I have 4 kids as well. I have a boy who's a sophomore in high school, and I have a girl who's in 8th grade, another girl who's in 6th grade, and then a little guy who is in 3rd grade. So 2 boys and two girls. They all play tennis as well, although my husband grew up playing hockey, well, and tennis. Actually, my husband played tennis at Middlebury and then decided it was too small and transferred to Michigan, where he graduated from,
Okay.
and did not play tennis. But So my kids play tennis, but he grew up playing hockey as well. So all my kids play, except for my oldest daughter. She plays lacrosse. So
Okay.
they've all gone on to other sports, but, and then I'm still at home, and we have one dog, a golden retriever. And we were so happy we got her just before the pandemic, because
Uh-huh.
that made it a lot more fun. And her name is Maisie Blue, because my husband went to Michigan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
Unfortunately, everyone wears maize and blue around my house more than so I need to change that. But until Bucknell gets hockey, I don't think Bucknell is in their future. Sad.
Oh,
Trying to get my lacrosse player to think about it.
before we moved to Bucknell, I was the coach at Valparaiso University, Valparaiso, Indiana. So we're very close to Chicago.
Yeah.
So my kids used to play tennis at, we played at Midtown. There was one club, I cannot think of the name of it, that we used to always go to, but I do get a lot of recruits out of the Chicago area, like a lot of recruits out of the Chicago area. So that's a good place. So the next question, recruiting is literally nonstop for me. I'm doing it all the time. And I tell my recruits that the ultimate goal is for them to be happy. Can you tell us, I'll start with Carrie first. Can you tell us, now this is my decade. I graduated in 1995. So I know that the internet wasn't around when I was going through the college process. So can you tell us, Carrie, if you remember, how many schools you applied to, how the recruiting process worked back then when we didn't have the internet? How did you hear about Bucknell, and then why did you choose Bucknell?
Okay, so I applied to 8 schools for undergrad. I found out about Bucknell because I have some East Coast roots. My mom is from Pennsylvania and my dad is from New York. So even though I was coming from California, I was looking for a small liberal arts college. So recruiting, though, at least when I was going through it, there wasn't much in the way of recruiting. I came to Bucknell to visit the campus, and I met with Coach Ewan, and then had a couple of phone conversations with her, but ultimately decided on Bucknell because of the academic offerings. And I loved the campus, and it was the perfect size for me. And tennis for me was a big bonus. But I mean, we got there and we tried out our freshman year. Nobody had a spot on the team until you tried out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, there were 16 of us. We all tried out together.
Wait, there's 16 people that tried out that year?
Right. Yeah. From my freshman class. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many made it?
3 made the top 6.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So where in Southern California are you from?
We lived in Mission Viejo for a while, which is in Orange County, and we were in Pacific Palisades near Los Angeles.
Yep. Yeah. My mom's from Huntington Beach. So.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
yeah.
I recruit California too. Every time I go out there. Well,
yeah,
there
aren't many of us coming from California.
California.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Julia, how about your recruiting experience?
All right, my recruiting was a little different. So I was born in Bethesda, right in Maryland, but I grew up in the Dominican Republic. So I came to this country to pursue a tennis scholarship at a boarding school in high school. And that particular high school for me is called McDonough. And that particular high school at the time had a really good relationship with Bucknell. And a lot of the people, not a lot, but a good number of people that went to McDonough went to Bucknell. So we had a really good, it was kind of like literally like McDonough University. And I applied to a lot of schools simply because I was blessed that all the coaches kind of waived my application. And so my parents always said, apply as much as you can. And I wanted to go to a small school because English is my second language. So I felt like I was going to be lost in a big school. I wanted to go to a small private school, and I didn't want to go too far from home. And Bucknell to me was about 2 hours and 15 minutes from home. It gave me the private aspect. It gave me, like, academically was, I to this day say that I don't know how I got into Bucknell. I always say, like, if people always say to me, oh, you go to Bucknell, you're one of those? And I'm like, no, not really. I think I got in because of tennis, but that's my excuse. But I actually, I struggled my freshman year there academically. I think it was probably because of language barrier, but I ended up doing all right there. So,
Okay.
And the recruiting process for me was obviously the application. I talked to Coach Ewan a lot. Like Carrie said, you had to go out and try out. And to this day, Marianne, I remember Marianne was number one. And as a freshman, I came in, I was so nervous because I think Marianne, you had been number one for 3 years, or at least, right? And I was so nervous to play the senior. And that was my first, and I remember Coach Ewan telling me, well, you're coming into a team that has, some really good da-da-da-da. And I was kind of like, well, I hope I make a spot, right? And so I tried out, like everybody else did. And I was lucky to get the spot that I did. So it was a combination of academics. Coach Ewan was awesome to me. She was awesome. She was an incredible coach to me. She bent over backwards for me. And of course, when I visited the campus, I grew up in a third world country. You go to Bucknell and it's like gorgeous, right?
Beautiful.
So it was a combination. And to me, it was a perfect fit. I love my years there.
Good. When's the last time you've been back on campus?
I go back every 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I think Christina probably saw me last time. I can't remember if Christina was there or not. Where's Christina on the screen? Were you there? You were there, right?
20th reunion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
20th
nice.
year reunion. Yeah, exactly. So, and I think our 25th just happened, but we couldn't do it because of COVID.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was there, I guess 10 years ago, right, Christina? Right?
Well,
Yep.
I don't. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, but I go back every 5 years. Because I'm pretty
Oh,
close
cool.
with my class.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love going back.
So on the tennis courts, there's these 3 trees. I don't know if they're oak or maple, but every fall, they lose all their leaves onto the tennis court. Were those trees always there? Do you know?
Which court was it on? Do you remember
The courts, 1, 2, and 3.
Don't you remember, Coach, like with the leaf blower?
Yes.
Fall?
That was my court and your court.
Yes,
Christina.
that's one of my favorite memories. Coach Ewan with the leaf blower. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait a minute. She had the players help blow the leaves?
No, she did it.
Okay. All right. Rach, you got lucky.
No, Coach, you can do it.
Because literally for 3 weeks out of the year, that's my part-time job. I'm out there blowing leaves between practices, between when they're getting water breaks, I'm sucking up leaves. So anyway, I think they may have cut one down. I'm not sure. So, but anyway, thank you. Marianne, how about you? What was your recruiting like?
Yeah, I think like they didn't really expect me. Bucknell was the biggest school I applied to, so like I was looking at a liberal art. I know, right? At a liberal arts colleges, and I was talking to different coaches there, but I ended up falling in love with Bucknell. But I think I talked to Coach Ewan once when I went on and she was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." It's like, that's, it was like, great. And I was like, well, I hope I make the team, I was just like, I don't know. And so I just showed up and I had no idea. I played third singles in high school. And I actually could have played fourth because we had a really great team. And so like, I didn't have any crazy illusions. And I got there and they were like, okay, to like Carrie said, like, here's all the people trying out. And so I was like, hi. And it was like me and Karen Stagliano and Jen Wyckoff and a whole bunch of folks. And then we tried out and I ended up number 1. And so, and then I think the first like 5 matches of the year I won, and that had never happened before. And so it was like big news. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And the ride was pretty good for 3 years until, Julie screwed it up. But, like, He came in and said, no, this is really how you play tennis. I was like,
Oh, listen to you.
And then, Christina, same thing. And so, that was my downward, but I had a blast. It was super fun. And I mean, I really liked getting to, it was just a beautiful, I grew up in New York, so it wasn't too far, like Julia said, and it was a beautiful campus, and it was just like everyone was super nice. And so it was just a great experience for me.
Good. I don't know what you guys know about college tennis now and the scoring system. So we start with doubles first, and it's a set, no ad scoring. So there's 3 doubles. You have to win 2 to get 1 point. And then you get a 5-minute break, and we start right into singles. So, Rach, when we were playing college tennis, we played singles first, and it was 2 out of 3 sets. And then you played doubles next, and it was 2 out of 3 sets. And it was ad scoring.
Yeah. Doubles today is only 30 minutes long. Like, it's so quick. It doesn't, no time. Like, I think my parents will come watch me and they'll be like, oh, we'll make it for doubles. And they never make it because it's always over.
Yeah. It goes by so fast. But our matches used to be 4 or 5 hours long. So
why do they do that now?
Time.
Oh.
They want the matches to go quicker.
How long will a match last then? Because I remember it being, super late, super dark.
No. Half hour for doubles and an hour and a half for singles.
Wow.
So about 2 hours. Yeah. So it's different. So, Sarah, how about you? Tell me about your recruiting.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, I think Coach Ewan recruited a lot of us the same way. Like, hey, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, kind of thing. I was actually recruited heavily by Washington and Lee, and I went down multiple times and did overnights there. And I remember flying out to Denison and Kenyon and, talked to all those coaches. And then at Bucknell, it was kind of like, well, here's our program. Would love to see you in the fall. Okay. But and that was just Coach Ewan's personality, right? Just so laissez-faire, laid back. And it was like, our program's really strong. You want to be here? We're here. And I think part of that was also attractive in that, it was like, okay, well, she's not chasing after me. Maybe I need to be really taking a look at this program. What is this all about?
Okay.
It was, I'm not saying that's always the right technique, but that was definitely the coach's technique. And it really was a tough decision as to where to go to school. My mother actually started the swim team at Bucknell in the late 60s. And so she was a varsity athlete. And so she was really encouraging me to look at Bucknell. And I loved it from the beginning. I'd gone to all of the reunions since I was young, and I kind of grew up visiting the campus. And what I loved about it was a small campus. It felt like family almost from the moment that you stepped through, stepped onto the property. I love the fact that, again, the small classes, the amazing academics, but also the fact that you could do so much. And you can be a tennis player, you could be in a sorority, you could go and study abroad, you could do so many things. And tennis is still a huge, huge part of it, but it wasn't the only part. And I really liked that about Bucknell. And I remember tryouts too. So Julie and Christina were there, and I was a freshman, they were sophomores. And I think Julie had blown out her knee. I think she had a knee brace on the beginning. And I was like, okay, how good is this girl in the knee brace? Oh yeah, she's good. Okay, yeah, I know why she's number one. Got it. But we had, I think, 14 or 15 freshmen that tried out, and 6 of us made it. I was actually jotting down a list. It was Nikki and Adina, Erica Ann Hood, Lauren Weil, Mandy Kalish, and I, which is crazy. And most of us stuck it through. I think Erica transferred, and I know she died a couple of years ago of cancer, maybe about 10 years ago now. The rest of us kind of stay in touch here and there. But again, when I talk about it being family, I mean, that's the cool thing, is that it becomes your second family on campus.
It does. How big was the team?
Oh gosh, maybe, was it 12, 10?
12?
I don't remember, but I mean, it was the year that I came in. So Marianne had graduated. Marianne, I don't know how many graduated your year, because Julia and Christina were sophomores.
At least three graduated my year, 3 or 4.
And I think there were a couple people that were freshmen that didn't come back and play, or were knocked off maybe by some of the freshmen. I don't remember, but there were 6 of us on the team, and maybe there were, gosh, maybe there were 10 total. Christina, what was it? It was Christina and Jenny Markowicz was on the team, right?
I
And
was
Kim?
trying to remember when, because I was that my year was Jenny Markowicz, Christine McMillan,
Uh-huh.
and Ashley Crary.
Ashley didn't play my freshman year then. So I
Okay.
think
I was trying to figure out when they stopped, and I couldn't remember. So
Yeah.
that was our class.
You have to try out every year again, so you weren't guaranteed a spot every year. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot of pressure.
Christina, I'm sorry for having you going last again, but can you tell us about your recruiting process?
No, exactly the same as
Mhm.
kind of everyone else. I had zero recruiting. I think I reached out to her and said, hey, what's tennis like at Bucknell? I'm going to apply, wondering if I could play. I mean, when I was going to college, I was thinking I'm going to pick my college, and then if I can play tennis, it'll be a bonus. I wasn't really dead set on playing in college.
Mhm.
So it wasn't a deciding factor for me. And really, I mean, I don't even remember meeting Rose ahead of time. I feel like there was probably like a letter correspondence, like this is what our team looks like, or the matches that we play, this is our conference. And then yeah, I just showed up. We had to show up early for school to try out, and I was like, yeah, what the heck, I'll just try it. And so it was yeah, it's just funny to think about now. And
Right.
we have
All the recruiting. Yeah.
it all has changed so much.
Yeah, it has. So, well, Rachel, how about your recruiting process? How did it go?
It was different. So I actually had Coach Hout for 2 years. And so she was my coach for my freshman, sophomore year. So she kind of recruited me. I reached out to her, and she had me attend the Lehigh tennis camp over the summer. And so she watched me play there since she didn't personally know me. And so then I did that for a whole week. And then she met with me after, and then we kept in contact. And then at the time I'm trying to remember, there was 4 of us coming in, and now there's 3 of us seniors. And she told me, if you get an academic lead, then I have a spot for you. Because she could only take out of the 4 of us 2 to automatically get in and not have to worry about the grades. And then for me, another girl, she thought we would be fine. So she said, if you get in. So then I found out 2 days before Christmas, or a week before Christmas. And I saw I gotten in online, and then I was able to tell her, and she didn't even know I'd gotten in. She was like, oh, that's great. Like, so she was very chill too, about the whole thing. And then I got to meet Kayla and all my other teammates after that. But yeah, it's definitely a little different, I think, now recruiting. And I know, Coach, you're looking like ahead of 2 years ahead. Like, you already know
Oh, yeah.
after I graduated.
Right.
And they're like,
right. Last year I spoke to 160 recruits over the phone. So
yeah. And then
well, that was my first year. I've kind of gotten better at the process. So far it's been about 60 recruits, but halfway there.
Yeah.
It's
And then
just Bucknell's just so popular. I just get so many emails every single day. It's amazing. It really is.
And people in Charlotte too, since I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, girls will see I go to Bucknell and play tennis. And they're like, oh, what's Bucknell? Because not everyone in Charlotte even knows what school that is. And so then I'll get messages like, oh, can you tell your coach about me, or reach out? And then coach will reach out to me and be like, oh, do you know so-and-so? I'll be like, oh yeah, they live 10 minutes away from me. So there's a lot of networking that happens on campus. But I actually have a question. I'll just do random. So I'll start out with Miss Julia. What advice would you give me or anyone that's currently in the program about the college tennis experience at Bucknell?
What advice would I give somebody who's currently at Bucknell regarding the tennis? Regarding the tennis and what, I'm sorry?
Regarding just the overall tennis experience, the college tennis experience at Bucknell. Any advice you had while on the team you wish you could go back and be like, wow, I wish I knew that, or maybe balancing academics with sports or social life, anything that you can think of?
Well, I can tell you what worked for me. I don't know if I would change anything, to be honest with you. I think the experience of actually multitasking, that helped me a ton. When I graduated, and I went on to grad school, and I started my career. I think, and probably Christina and Sarah are gonna laugh, but I remember when we had those long, it wasn't like half an hour doubles, an hour and a half singles. They were long days. And so I remember having like a little lantern where I would study like in the van. And so I think that's something that's really, really, I really transitioned that into my life. I was able to like balance the tennis and balance the academics. And and you know what I also used to do? I used to say I didn't party like a day or two before a match, because that to me was like huge. So I would definitely give that advice to anybody who's in the program or coming on the program, especially when you have a scholarship on the line.
That's smart.
And you know what? And I think enjoying the ride, honestly, like just enjoy the ride, because I have chills right now thinking about all the memories in the van and the hotels and and the championships we won and all the memories I had there. It's really important to enjoy the ride and make the best of it, because you only have 4 years.
Right. It really flies by. I'm a senior now, and I'm not ready to leave. It's
Right.
really, yeah, it flies by. And we were actually just talking with the freshmen the other day about, well, everyone, but particularly the freshmen, about the van rides and everything, because they haven't gotten to experience that yet because of COVID. And so, because we didn't have a normal fall season like we normally would with tournaments and traveling. And so we're trying to prep them for that to get ahead on their work and feel confident. But what about you, Miss Marianne? What do you think? What advice would you have looking back?
Well, I look back at it, and I think it was definitely one of the places that set me up well in my career around teamwork and being accountable to others. And for me, it created, like, and many of the others on the call today, leadership opportunities by being captain and being able to grow and feel empowered and accountable to helping others along the way. And so I think those are some really good lessons that I got out of that experience that helped me as I sort of went off into my career along the way. And I agree with the whole sort of, appreciate the journey, the relationships. I wasn't the most like social person in the world when I got there, and just building those connections on the tennis team helped me feel like I could fit in. And those just lasted forever, right? And it's just like really appreciating everyone else and appreciating those relationships and knowing that they can last and all the whole duration of college and beyond is fantastic. And so I just think the whole experience really sets people up well for enjoying the moment and also, setting yourself up for success in your career.
Right. And I'm sure you still have like friendships with past teammates, and obviously all of you guys still stay in touch, which is great. And so that's nice that you still have that network you can go back to and see at like alumni reunions and everything. Yeah. But what about you, Miss Christina? What do you think?
I really don't have too much to add. I mean, I think Marianne and Julia said it perfectly. I think for me, yeah, I mean, it just really the skills of multitasking throughout your whole experience and making, decisions about, when and how to get work done and be social and balancing all of that. I mean, that is a lifelong skill that is going to serve you well. And I think I agree. I just think that the friendships that you make from day one are just great. It's I wouldn't trade it for anything. So it's interesting to think about playing a sport in college, like as I now have my own kids, and how different my experience would have been. And I think just choosing to do something that you love makes it all worthwhile. And that's probably a good thing to think about as you get into a career and all of that too.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool being able to say, looking back to, I guess, well, I'm going to be doing this next year, which is crazy, but being like, you're a student athlete, you have that double. And so it's like, I think they said 40% of students at Bucknell are student athletes. So you're in that group. And so then you not only know then tennis people, but you're able to know like other sports and how they're doing. And yeah, it's just fun overall getting to meet everyone. What about you, Miss Gary?
Well, probably just similar comments all about time management.
Mhm.
We had 7 a.m. gym workouts, and we had afternoon practices, and we had classes in between. And then those are obviously life skills. You can take that into the workforce, being able to manage your time. The less time you have, the more efficient you are with it. But yeah, being a part of that team was fantastic. I love those girls. Still good friends with some of them. And then also, like you said, showing up early to campus to get ready for the season and try out. I got to know the soccer players and people that were there for other sports, and they're still good friends also. So the community aspect of that experience was something to cherish also.
When going through tryouts, I just think it's funny trying out every year. Did you have to prepare for that over the summer? This is really for all of you. Did you have to, I can't imagine having like an internship or something and then not getting to hit a lot and then having to come back, like, especially senior year and being like, okay, I have to make the team my final year. How was that?
Well, I mean, you had to play for your spot, so you had to make sure you could beat the other players if you wanted to move up or stay where you were. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember it being too overwhelming playing during the summer, but there was definitely practicing during the summer. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember, like, for me at least, there was a difference between playing like hitting freshman to sophomore,
Sure.
and junior
Yeah.
to senior year. It wasn't downhill, coach. You didn't hear that. It was more like I was trying to find a job and then having to balance that, and it's just different experience overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm saving the best for last. Miss Sarah, what do you think?
How about that? I would say, that student athlete community that you build and that we did when we came on early, and I don't know who was just saying it, but I remember on my freshman floor, we had water polo players and soccer players and field hockey players. And like those honestly were some of the people that I felt like I kind of knew the best through the 4 years. Because we went through something that those that weren't student athletes, right? We did something different and we were doing something different during the school year. So obviously time management is huge. I would say being a student athlete at Bucknell, I mean, mental toughness, right? I mean, as a woman in the workplace, you need a lot, like the mindset, having a strong mindset. Those are things that you learn on the tennis court, and not just as a high school student, but through college, especially. I'll never forget playing Army, and the girl across the net was a short hair redhead, and I called a ball out, and I thought she was going to jump the net and kill me. Like I really thought I was going to die that day at West Point. And, and I remember that was the biggest match for mental toughness and strength. And it was also the biggest match where my teammates were coming behind me and, building each other up in this community of Bucknell. We are all about rallying behind each other and building each other up. And we absolutely saw that on the Bucknell tennis team for sure.
Yeah. A lot of things haven't changed.
Yeah.
No, they have, especially an Army, man. Yeah, they feel intimidating.
Yeah. Well, Christina, I'm going to start with you first this time for this question. So when you got the email from Todd to participate in this call this evening to talk about the tennis team, what are some of the memories that immediately jumped back at you?
Well, actually, it's funny that you were talking about Army, because one of my like strongest memories that I still talk about with people today is playing my freshman year. We went up to play at Army, and it was a football Saturday, and we were in the middle of a match, and the singles player I was playing against literally stopped because they have to stop and do the salute for the national or the national anthem, and that was going on in the football stadium. So that was so different for me. Just all the different campuses on the East Coast. I grew up in the Midwest, and so it was so fun for me to see all the different parts of the East Coast. And then probably like just a personal favorite highlight of my 4 years was the Patriot League championships our senior year when we won. And then I got to play. I had lost to a girl at Colgate during the regular season, but then I was able to beat her in the championship match. And it just was obviously extra sweet to win our senior year and go out on top. So many things. And some of my all-time best friends at Bucknell obviously were tennis players. So, and they didn't all play all 4 years, but and coach was just funny. And I mean, yeah, the memories are endless. Just funny.
Yeah, I know when you sit here and think about it, you just can't stop smiling.
I know, yeah.
There's so many of them. Yeah, I understand. How about you, Julia? You were nodding your head.
Oh, I have so many memories. Christina, it's funny you mentioned that story because I still to this day, Christina, tell that story about the Army, I remember exactly what the woman that I played, what she looked like. She had short, dark hair. We were on the first court and I remember hitting the ball and all of a sudden the whole thing stops. And I go, wait, I won that point. And it was like, turn around, salute the flag. And I was like, and I remember looking at Coach Ewan going like, what do I do? And she kind of looked like, turn around and look at the flag. We had to face the football stadium. I remember to this day.
Why didn't they warn us about that? I don't understand.
Nobody told us. We were like, I looked at coach because I was in in the first court. So I was pretty close to her and she was like pointed over to the football. And I was like, all right, I'll just, and I looked around and I did this and, flag, but I still tell that story to this day, Christina. Obviously one of my biggest memories is when I blew my knee out my junior year. That was a big, huge deal for me. I was playing Christina. I remember she challenged me to number 1.
Oh, you had a challenge too?
Yeah, because I would come back every year. You had to every time I came back, somebody would challenge me to the number 1. And that year, it was my junior year. And Christina, I think, was playing number 2, right? Coming in. And so the obvious thing was for her to challenge me. And so we were playing, I remember in the far right court, you remember, Christina? And I blew my knee out. So that was a big ordeal for me. So, tennis literally was my life from when I was a little girl in the Dominican Republic. And it opened a lot of opportunities for me. So all of a sudden I had my right torn ACL and some meniscus to it. And that was a big ordeal. But in another big memory, I don't know if Sarah was a part of this or Christine, I want to say yes. And if you were, please forgive me. So Coach Ewan moved me from, I forget the name of the dorm where I live now, to a first floor in Schwartz, I think it was, or I forget the name of the hall. And so she would have literally, Tammy, some of the tennis players and some of the common student athletes, or sometimes they were just students, literally record my classes and send them in a FedEx envelope and ship them to Baltimore when I had surgery at Hopkins for my knee. And so, some of the memories like that, they were really cool.
That's
like
awesome.
bend over backwards for me so that I wouldn't, so my academics wouldn't fall behind, obviously. And then obviously my biggest memories, like Christina said, were winning. I think we won 2 or 3 of the Patriot League championships, playing doubles with Kim Carlson, playing doubles with Christina, ton of memories with Sarah and everybody else in the team. And obviously the Christy Matheson Award was probably my biggest honor there. That was a big ordeal for me. To have done that in 3 years, that was a big ordeal. And then the all-decade team was a big deal as well. So
that's great.
I just loved everything about it. Literally, I have so many memories,
Right. I have a couple trophies that are in my office. I'll have to go back and really look at the dates on them to see if it's from your year.
Yeah.
So, cool. Sarah, how about you?
It was an amazing time to be on Bucknell's team because we did win Patriot Leagues several years.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
In a row. And that was amazing. Like my kids are wrapping up in a blanket I have downstairs, and it's this big blue blanket with red and has all the Patriot League school names on it and Patriot League champions. And like we got it's now pretty tacky old watch. Do y'all remember the watch? But we got a watch, we got a blanket, and it was a really fun time to be on the team because we were good. It was fun going to different schools and they kind of feared us. Like I love playing indoors at Colgate, and there's nothing against Colgate, but their whole setup inside at the time was pretty bad. You really couldn't view it very well, but we'd all like be piling behind the courts on the side, trying to cheer everybody on. And It was just the camaraderie from the van rides. Y'all remember stopping at Bob's Big Boy, and every time went to Bob's Big Boy. Christina's laughing. We'd take a picture with Bob and Rose. Like Coach Ewan had to be in there with Bob. We just had fun. We had fun. It wasn't, I don't remember it being like crazy stressful. Like we enjoyed practice. We enjoyed the workouts. We enjoyed the players. It wasn't a job. It wasn't stressful. It was fun. And maybe that's why we were good. We had a lot of fun with it. And I know we were talking about recruiting and how different it is. We did play. I mean, I remember playing tournaments all summer before the next season because you couldn't, you know, I mean, if you had a chance to challenge Julie, like, come on, like you better work on it a little bit. But it was fun. It was, so, I mean, really some of the best times. I wouldn't change any of it. Not one.
Yeah, I know the feeling. So, Carrie, how about you? What memories come back?
Oh, well, one thing that I can think of, when I was a freshman, we weren't allowed to have a car on campus. And so that van was our only way off of the campus. I remember getting into the van and going to our first match. We passed an Amish buggy, a horse and buggy, and I was just floored. I didn't know where I was, what was going on. So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I also remember being in Army and how intimidating that was, and having the players stop to salute the flag, and staying in funny hotel rooms. So Coach Helt, Rachel, Coach Helt came my sophomore year. So I know Coach Helt also, yeah. Coach Ewing retired. Well, she moved on to be the athletic director for a while, and Coach Helt came in. Yeah.
Coach Hud still lives in Lewisburg. She now coaches at Bloomsburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we see her from time to time. Yeah.
Great. All right, Marianne.
Yeah. So I was started in the class in '88, and we felt like we were pretty proud. We felt like we were sort of a transformational sort of group because Bucknell hadn't won a lot of championships prior to that. And so over the course of those years from '88 to '92, we started to continue to get incrementally better and better and better, and you know, sort of culminating with Julia, Christina, whatever, coming on, and I think we won Patriots that year. And so like we felt like we were a really good connective to sort of, you know, starting just a really great tradition at Bucknell in terms of tennis, where I don't think folks really thought of tennis in Bucknell much, but it just got, the program just got better and better and better. And we like to think we played a part in helping sort of kickstart that transformation back then. And so that's it feels pretty good to be part of something bigger like that. And we had our fun moments. We got to go down to University of West Virginia, and I remember we went to the tennis courts, and we drove down there, and there were like all the RVs for the football game and everything. And we were just like, we're from Little Bucknell. And I'm pretty sure, I'd have to check. Maybe Todd has to check. I think I actually won that against the #1 singles at West Virginia, which was like, and my first year. And so I think, I don't know, I have to check if that's actually true, but as I recall, we had surprising success. I don't think we won the whole match, but it was just little moments like that where, you know, we were the little guy and we surprised people, and that's kind of fun to do. And the program was just awesome, and just had a blast the whole entire 4 years.
Good. Do we have time to continue to keep going? Okay. All right.
Hey guys, I gotta go teach some pickleball lessons to my students in a few minutes. So
all right. How about we start with you for this last question?
Okay.
So as their coach, I really want the time that they spend here at Bucknell to be some of the best 4 years of their life. What advice can you give me to help make that goal come true for both me and for the players on the team?
To make their experience the very best.
Yeah. What can I do as a coach?
I mean, I think the biggest thing was you know, as I look at Coach Ewan, like just feeling supported along the way,
Okay.
but also like feeling empowered. And so I think the biggest thing I would suggest, and especially help them as they move into their career, is, you know, empowering them to be able to lead and lead the team. So not necessarily just have a tops down approach. You know, be a servant leader and be there for them and allow them to shine, and then hold them accountable, you know, and really, because I think it's going to set really good way of being for them as they move into the likes of their career. And so, yeah, I would say empower and hold accountable.
Accountable and let them shine.
Yes.
Thank you. Sounds good. Sarah, what can I do? Any advice?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, coming off of Julie's story about how Coach had video sent to her, kind of going the extra mile sometimes. And it could be in doing something like that. It could be in, I remember we played Drexel, I think it was, and my parents lived just over the bridge in New Jersey. And my dad would come to almost all of our matches. And he said, can we just bring the team over and we'll just do lunch out on the patio at our house? And she did that. And that was really cool. A lot of coaches would be like, no, we got to go back. But it was building that community, building that family, like that, truly making the team feel like family. And it wasn't just I'm here to be a student athlete. So I would say supportive, having that caring heart, letting the athletes really know that you do truly care. And the last thing I'd say is, pull the bus over when people need to go to the bathroom. Because I will never forget Julie and Christina, poor Dina Youngie just about died on the bus. So that's the last tip I would have.
All right, sounds good. I'll remember that one. Carrie, how about you?
I don't know if I have that much more to add, because I just agree with what Sarah and Mary Ann were both saying. I love the idea of empowering and supporting, but also holding people accountable for their actions and their part of the team. And then also something that has been brought up before, keeping it fun.
Okay.
Because we're out there to be competitive, but to have fun and be good people. So there's lots of lessons to be learned there. Tennis is just such a great lifelong sport. I didn't play competitively for 18 years after graduating, but I'm back playing now and getting, playing leagues. So just having all that stuff to build from, it sticks with you.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach Ewan and Coach Helt, I remember a lot of the things they did for me. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Christina?
Yeah, I agree with everything. You know, it is so different now. Like as Sarah mentioned earlier, I loved the fact that I could study abroad and I could do other things. It wasn't just tennis for me, but obviously tennis was a huge part of it. So just, I would say helping to be creative around, you know, some of your players want to do some other things and, you know, trying to help with that. But I agree with Mary Ann, kind of like pushing you to self-advocate and figure out, you know, I remember freshman year, I was like in this like high level calc class and I was like, this is not for me. How do I get out of this? And coach was like, well, this is where you might go figure that out, you know? So it's like, I did it on my own, but she was there to support and provide the resources and all of that. And I agree. She got to know my grandmother who lived in Pennsylvania. She would come to the matches and she'd always ask about her. And so it's getting to know the players on a personal level, I think is a unique opportunity at Bucknell too. And that it means a lot. So.
Thank you. How about you, Julia?
Let's see, unmute. I think allowing the student athletes or your team to know, how can I explain this? I'm thinking in Spanish here, but I have to speak in English. You know, I give like an example, like when I blew my knee out, I was very comfortable going to Coach Ewan and in what I needed, and I knew she would listen. You know, I think Sarah said she had a little bit of dry personality, but for some reason I felt comfortable with her. You know, I felt like she knowing that you're an asset, that you're there, that you're, in anything as a woman in a career, maybe you could direct them in the right direction in the career department or send them to the right person. I think it's also important. It's always been important to me when I was in a team or whatever, or you're competing, knowing that their actions represent the tennis team, the respect, the teamwork, the support, the camaraderie between the women, off and on the court, like if they have classes together, encouraging each other. And I think also as a coach, and when I was a graduate assistant, so I went from Bucknell and I was a graduate assistant, so I was assistant coaching in tennis team in Ohio. And I think a big deal to me was setting the expectations clear in the beginning. When you have your new freshmen, especially, their expectations as to how they conduct themselves off the court and on the court. Sportsmanship was big, and I think I kind of wrote that stuff down. And I think somebody else said it, just to have fun, within the rules,
Right. Sounds good.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, I have 2 boys, so no daughters, but I say I have 10 daughters on the tennis team, so I care very much for them. So, well, thank you, everyone. I know Rachel appreciates all the advice that.
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for answering everything and telling us about your memories. It was really fun to hear.
So, well, hopefully you guys will be able to come out to a match sometime. We still host 2 Bucknell tournaments in the fall, so we really enjoyed that. But it was really nice to meet everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so
much.
I'll wrap it up here, and I'll first turn my attention to Rachel. And Rachel, thanks again for taking the time to be with us tonight, and good luck to you in the spring. And we hope that you're on that court behind me, but as Bucknell women's tennis is going to do, and best of luck with that. And then to the alums, thanks so much for being here. It was easy to see how much the experience meant to you all. Thank you for what you did while you were players here, how you represented the program while you were in school, and how you've represented Bucknell since you've graduated. I always say that the experience that our student athletes have is because of the alums that have come before them that have given back to the program. So thanks for supporting the Bucknell women's tennis program and all that you do. And then for those of you that tuned in tonight to watch, thank you for doing so, and go Bison.